you guys. I didn't see you there. I was just feeling down. Ah, I get it. Because it's a down pillow. Welcome to Daily Alison. Today's Friday. Woo! And I have to say that intro right there didn't come from my brain. It came from one of you. It was a guy named Mike Rosen, no relation that I know of, and he suggested that I hold actual feathers in my hand, like from a pillow, but it's like I'm going to destroy a pillow for this show. Not for this show. For my other show, the Almost Daily Alison. Is that a dynamic pillow toss? I hope so. It's like I'm having a pillow fight with the couch. Anyway, you might be wondering what I'm wearing. What am I wearing? This is a glittery hoodie, which I found in my closet, which I have never worn in real life. Because what would be the occasion where you would need a glittery hoodie? I don't really know why I bought it. I think I was in my... back when I played in a band, if I saw anything shiny, including my guitar, which is really shiny, I would have to buy it, I guess, is the thing. I don't know. It was like a shiny object. And so I saw this, and no, that's not true. I'm lying, because I bought this in New York and I wasn't in a band at that point. Anyway, look at it sparkle. It's cheese in a hoodie. It's hoodie cheese. But anyway, it's been hanging in my closet forever, and I thought, I'm gonna wear it in this episode of the Daily Alison. I went to a party last night, and I met a lot of people who actually were familiar with this show, which was very promising. There's hope for all of us yet, you guys. Maybe someone will adopt us, even though we're oldish. And that's not the royal we. I mean all of us. Anyway, today, my guest, I'm just going to cut to the chase. My guest is my dad. Now, you might be thinking, Alison, you're relying fairly heavily on your dad as a guest. Which is true, but the thing is that I have a very specific question I want to ask him today, and I will explain when I get him on the phone. Here we go. I hope you're sitting down and comfortable.
Hello, Daily Alison.
Hello, John Rosen. It's your daughter.
Yes, I know it. I recognize your voice and your caller ID.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you could think I'm Laura, though, because we kind of have the same voice. Or Mom and I, we all have the same voice.
Yeah, listen, when I have a question for you. When I say hello, everyone says hello. Can I copyright the word hello, like Paris Hilton copyrighted
That's hot.
or something, and Donald Trump copyrights You're Fired? So, now, first of all, I said hello, so do I owe Paris Hilton like 3 cents right now?
If you had answered the phone, that's hot, you might.
And how about if I copyright the word hello and the world makes me rich overnight? So find me a copyright authority in your many copyright authority friendships or something.
I think Trevor could help you with that, actually. Maybe it's intellectual property.
Yes, because I thought it up.
That's right. You thought up this whole ruse, charade. Anyway, I have a very specific question for you, and it's based on your medical knowledge. But anyway, there's a backstory, so make yourself comfortable while I explain it, okay?
Yeah, I'm all ears.
Okay, so I was instant messaging with my friend Drew, Andrew Toll, who was, I think, my very first guest on the Daily Alison. And I was asking if he wanted to come back, because he and Dustin want to have a three-way conversation with me so that they can make all sorts of threesome jokes. But anyway, I said to Drew, is today a good day? And he said, it's touch and go, we're not out of the woods yet. And I said, okay, I'll get the paddles ready. And then I said, I'm going to squirt some goo on them and rub them together. And then he said, gross. And then I said, you know what I'm talking about, right? Those paddles that they have in hospital dramas. And then I said, I'm not even sure they have them in real hospitals. They just have them in hospital dramas. And then he said that it was my duty as a journalist to get to the bottom of this. And I said, I am going to call up someone I know who can answer, my dad. So my question for you is, what are those things called? And B, are they just on TV or do they exist in real life? And C, have you ever used them?
The answer is yes to all of those questions.
Oh.
they are in emergency rooms, and sometimes when a patient's heart stops, you can restart it. Actually, you can often restart it just by punching them in the chest.
Right.
Which we used to do.
The poor man's paddle.
Until they invented the cardiac stimulating machines, which uses a jolt of electricity to restart the heart. But they are in emergency rooms. They're not used as often as you think, because it's not often that someone comes in cardiac arrest. Meaning mostly, it happens on TV a lot more than it happens in real life.
Right. Like how many times would you say you've used them?
I would think not more than 2 or 3 times in 30 or 40 years or something.
But is that because you punched people in the chest so often?
No. As a matter of fact, I punched someone in the chest once when I was an intern. It was at a swimming pool that the interns were allowed to use.
Was he drowning, or were you just angry?
No, I like the idea, and I don't know what to do with that.
No, answer honestly.
Someone had a heart attack, and they went into cardiac arrest, which was not easy, not a hard thing to diagnose. And I punched them really hard in the chest, and the heart started again. But that's very unusual to run into that in an emergency situation in real life.
How did you know that the heart had stopped?
Well, the person was sitting there, and then suddenly, when someone has a heart attack, it's pretty easy to see, because
right.
It's kind of like on TV, they sort of collapse into a heap.
Mm-hmm.
And then you check for a pulse, and there is none, so the heart obviously has stopped. And on this particular case, I punched the guy in the chest, and the heart restarted. And then an ambulance came and took him over to the hospital, and everything worked out fine. But as I say, the machines are in emergency rooms, very rarely used. So what more can I tell you? But your joke about greasing up the paddles was apt.
Yeah. Do they put some kind of goop on it?
Yes. Well,
what is that? Something that conducts something?
Yeah, it helps the conduction of the electrical impulse.
And what is it? Just
paddle
goo? Paddle lube? Yeah.
It's probably like Vaseline or something. It's no special thing, just some kind of goop.
Now, do they yell something? Do they yell code or crash and then do it, or do they just do it?
No, they just do it. Nobody yells anything. There's very little yelling goes on in emergency rooms. On TV, they're always racing around with patients on gurneys and knocking people down, and everyone's running, and then they're in a hurry. When I was courting your mom, I ran into a series where I would making rounds in the hospital or something and have mom with me, and they would call they used to say code 99 or code blue on the PA system, which meant someone needed CPR.
Right.
And I wound up being the only doctor around. It must have been 5 or 6 times in a period of about 2 months. Anyway, so I found out what room the patient was in, and I'm walking towards the emergency room, and nurses are running, knocking me down, and I get there, and they're pushing the patient up and down. The patient's on the bed, so they're not doing anything to the patient, just the bed is going up.
Right.
And I'm walking, and everyone else is running, knocking me down, and I'm trying to tell everyone to slow down. There's no rush. To make a long story short, I put the patient on the floor and brought him back, which is no great heroic thing. That's what we're trained to do. But the nurses were all running around, and I was walking slowly, and I'm the one who was supposed to be doing whatever had to be done. In other words, it's not as dramatic as it is on TV.
Right.
You don't really have to run around. You do have time. And
don't you only have 4 minutes, though?
Well, you have 4.5 minutes with the patient. You're absolutely right, by the way. If the patient's heart stops, then within 4.5 minutes, since there's no circulation to the brain, even if you revive the patient's going to suffer irreversible brain damage. But that 4.5 minutes is quite a bit of time.
Right.
No reason to knock somebody down on your way into the room. But also, so I brought the patient back. The patient's heart was beating, and I said, let's get him over to the cardiac wing where we can do some more work on him. So the nurses decided to start running again, and they grabbed the bed the patient was on and started racing out of the room with it and yanked the IV that was on a IV pole out of the patient's arm. It was like
stupid
a
bitches.
Movie. But this was earlier in the days of training. I think nurses now and emergency personnel know more what they're doing.
Right.
Like in the Michael Jackson thing, you remember the instructions when the people in the house called, the 911 operator said, "Is the patient on the floor?" And Michael Jackson, in fact, was on the bed while they were doing CPR.
Dad, I feel like this is about to go right into an interesting story, and unfortunately we're out of time.
No, that's fine.
This episode is going to be brain dead in a moment.
No, I'll give you my fast impression of the day. What I was going to say is I was working on impressions of the vice president and the president, but right now they're both bad. But my Barack is worse than my Biden.
Ah, that's good. Okay, thank you.
Love you.
Talk to you later. Bye. Don't try any of this at home. Love you guys. Bye.